Hi everybody, today we have a birth announcement litter from Isle Labradoodles. Today we are going to introduce you to each of the mini Australian Labradoodle puppies from our dragonfly litter. Hi, I'm Claire from Isle Doodles, and this is GiGi and her 5 mini Labradoodle puppies that were just born 24 hours ago. And in this litter we have 5 of these mini Labradoodle puppies, and they're all boys. That's a really unusual occurrence, and it's a really interesting occurrence, and not quite what we had hoped for. But they're all happy and healthy, and that's the best thing you can ask for. In today's video, we're going to introduce you to each of the puppies, tell you a little bit about the birth, tell you a little bit about GiGi and how she's doing, and I'm also going to tell you about one of the things we do with all of our newborn litters, which is give them probiotics, and we'll talk about that a little later in the video. But first of all, let's tell you about the actual birth. So GiGi was very much quicker than her mama Ripple. Ripple gave birth to her puppies 2 days ago, and she had 6 puppies, and 5 of them are boys as well. So currently we're on a 5-boy theme here at Isle Doodles. This is GiGi's retirement litter. It's her 3rd litter, and it's the last one she'll have. And we were hoping to keep a girl back. We don't have any girls from GiGi's previous litters because they were all pretty tiny. Not in terms of the size of the Labradoodle puppies in the litters, but in terms of the numbers of puppies in the litter. However, we are going to keep one of these sweet boys for our program. And we already have the male from this litter, and that's our Bentley, who is from our friend Dawn at Cream Puff Labradoodles in New York. So we already have that sire, and really having another sire with similar genetics is something we don't do very often. However, now that they're combined with GiGi's genetics, it does give us a half new stud that we can use. And that way probably Bentley will retire a little sooner from our program than he would otherwise. And it also gives us a slightly different size, because I anticipate that these puppies will be smaller than Bentley. Bentley is a very good size mini. He's what we call a large mini, whereas GiGi is really a true mini, so to speak, in that she is only about 15 inches tall, and she only weighs between 18 and 20 pounds. So she's a little tiny thing, but she has the biggest heart and the biggest personality. So GiGi is a chocolate sable, and that's why you see this interesting color on her. And we're going to talk a bit about sable with her puppies, because there are several sables in here. Even though none of these puppies look like her coloring, there are a couple that are probably going to end up looking very similar to GiGi. When GiGi was born, she was quite a dark chocolate, and then sables do what we call clearing out, where the darkness disappears and you're left with it just in certain key spots, like on her mustache here and on the tip of her ears. And that's because sable is black banding or tipping, and so that's where the black is in there. And you can see in little spots on her coat where there's darker colors. So it's gorgeous highlighting. Many people would pay a hairstylist multiple dollars in order to have their hair look like this. It has almost a reverse ombre if you look underneath here, where the base of her fur is quite a bit darker than the tips of her coat. So it's a really interesting pattern. Now for the labor for this litter, it was much faster. Around 6 p.m. on August the 29th, GiGi started getting a little bit restless. She was pacing around, panting just lightly off and on, and she was starting to dig a bit. So we have our donut beds that are part of our puppy starter kit. We have those spread all over the house. So there's 3 in my office. There's 3 in our, what we call our dog family room. It's our family room, but it's also where we have our families to come and meet the puppies, and it's where our dog families go to hang out together as well. Then we have 3 upstairs in our main living and kitchen area, and about 5 of them in our bedroom. So we have a very good supply of them. And when the girls go into early stage 1 labor, which is the very beginning stages, no contractions, just the puppies are starting to move down toward the birth canal, and mom is starting to get prepared to be delivering the babies. within 24 hours. This is when the girls start to nest. Because were they not being raised with us, they would be having their puppies outside. They would be digging a little hole, and it would be actually quite small, in a shape like this, in an oval shape, and somewhere that was protected from predators. So they go around to all of the donut beds, they dig like crazy, then they usually take the interior pillow up and they either toss it right out of the bed or they hide underneath it. They're trying to hide underneath it as opposed to tossing it out, but sometimes they get a little carried away with their digging and poof, out the cushion goes. The other place they like to dig is in what we call our dig box. And our dig box is half of a large crate that's filled with strips of fabric. Now, if you watch our channel, you'll know that my hobby and my other passion is quilting. So whenever I make a quilt, there's always bits that are left over, scraps and pieces here or there. And sometimes, as Rena will tell you, I buy fabric, it sits in the cupboard for years, and then I go, oh, I don't really like that, and it doesn't get used. Well, it does have a good purpose. We use all of those to go in the dig boxes for our moms. And so sometimes what we have is Jillian just cut it into strips, or sometimes the fabric is already in a strip and then she just subcuts them into smaller strips. Then we fill the box heaping full of all these strips of fabric. The dogs can dig in there, the fabric goes flying. So for the last couple of days in our house, from upstairs and downstairs and every room, there's little bits of fabric here and there from where the girls were in the dig boxes. We have 2 of those as well, and they're spreading stuff everywhere. We also put a lot of fabric into a enclosed crate, because the girls also enjoy going into crates to nest, because that gives them the feeling of security, because there's the roof there. So then if you just look at all these little puppies right now, they're all lined up so nicely nursing, and you'll see that they're all really strong. You can tell they're all in there just doing great, not having any trouble at all nursing, and they all have a spot at the milk bar. And pretty soon you'll start to see these tails will actually wag when they're nursing. When they're up like that, that means they're working hard and really enjoying their feed. It's so cute to watch. Sometimes you get the little milking sounds as well. So GiGi was nesting, digging away, and getting ready to have her puppies. And she would sleep off and on here and there. Not a lot, but she would sleep from time to time. And so we went to bed, and we woke up pretty much every hour just to check to see what she was doing. She would be pacing around, or she'd come and tell us, hi, here I am, I'm getting ready to go into labor. But we knew she wasn't having any contractions yet. And until a girl starts to have contractions, you can pretty much let them just proceed at their own pace, as long as you're right next to them and they feel secure that you're nearby. So at 3 in the morning, GiGi made quite a commotion. She was a little bit more excited about things, so we got up, and then we had our first puppy at 5:40 a.m. And she had all these puppies in just under 90 minutes. So what we're going to do now is introduce you to each of those puppies. And the puppies, and all of our videos, we will do a weekly litter update video for you for the 9 weeks that the puppies are with us. And what we will always do is do the puppies in their birth order. That way nobody gets preferential treatment. So the first puppy who was born, of course it was a boy, because they're all boys, is light blue collar boy here. Now I'm going to pick him up, and if GiGi is upset that I'm picking them up and taking them over onto my arms, then I'll put them back. This is GiGi's 3rd litter though, and she's quite experienced. She is very much attached to me. She's very trusting. She doesn't really have too many issues. But sometimes if the puppy makes a squeak, the mom will want it back right away. So you see how I'm holding the puppy up by my neck, and I'm letting him root around by my neck. That is so he gets my scent. I really like to do this when they're nursing, because nursing is, whoa, the best thing you can do as a newborn puppy. So he's happy, he's content, his tummy's getting to be full, so then I get him to smell me. That way there's a bit of an association there between happiness, full tummy, and what that woman smells like. Bit of a stretch because he is just a newborn and he is a dog, but it does all go in there somewhere. So Mr. Light Blue Collar Boy, he is a sable. And he is a chocolate sable. And you can see right now that chocolate is a beautiful, rich, dark color. But it's going to lighten up, I think, and be a little bit more like GiGi. Probably a sort of a mahogany reddish brown at the end of the day. And if you look at the side of his face, it looks like he has a phantom marking. You would even be fooled and think, oh, is that a phantom and a phantom try? But if you look over the eyebrows, you'll see there's no phantom markings there. And then if we check under his tail, oh, but there are phantom markings there. And of course we wouldn't see them on his legs because they're white from the party part. So if this was not a sable litter, then this would be what we would call a try, because he would be a full party and a phantom. However, my suspicion is that all those markings are just there because of sable. They'll fool you and they'll trick you, and it will look like you have a sable puppy, or rather a phantom puppy, but really it's a sable. So this little guy was, as I said, the firstborn. He arrived at 20 to 6 a.m. and he weighed in at 226 grams. Perfect size for a mini, great size for GiGi. And now we'll put him back and let him continue his feast there. All these puppies have beautiful round tummies. There's nobody who's going with any shortage of groceries here. The next puppy who was born is this one and only caramel color puppy. And this is Mr. Black Collar Boy. And Mr. Black Collar Boy also happens to have been the biggest puppy in this litter. He was 243 grams at birth, and he was born at 5:52. So we only had 12 minutes between puppy number 1 and puppy number 2. Just we were hardly finished looking at your brother and you arrived. And you'll see on his chest there that he has some really pretty white abstract markings. Just a really nice, beautiful golden caramel color. Really pretty boy. This color will not change too particularly much. It will say pretty much what it is like right now. And this little handsome fellow is quite a go-getter. Because he's the biggest, he can have his way right now, and he doesn't hesitate to tell everyone, I'm the biggest, get out of my way, it's my turn, this is where I want to be. There you go, buddy. Next is Red Collar. Red Collar Boy is very similar to Light Blue Collar Boy. Again, this beautiful, rich, dark chocolate, and he looks like he has a T on his back there, or as one of my family said, oh, look, he looks like he's wearing a harness. Almost looks like he has a coat on. And then he's got just a little smidge of the white tip at the end of his tail, and then he has this pretty face. Now, you'll see on this boy, we have those phantom tan points above the eyebrows, really strongly on the side of the face, and presto, in the vent area as well. So maybe he is a try. I suspect he's probably not, and he will be a phantom. Generally, the telltale sign, when you're not sure, is there's a darker stripe of color down the back, the middle of the back. And when I look at this fellow, yeah, I don't really see that, but I have been tricked many, many times. So I'm pretty sure he is going to be a sable. Sable is the dominant color over phantom. Actually, sable and phantom are patterns, not colors, my mistake. So I'm pretty sure he's going to end up being a sable. But these puppies will probably all carry phantom, as both mom and dad do. So Mr. Red Collar Boy, he was born at 6:09 a.m. So again, very quickly after number 1 and number 2. And he was 208 grams when he was born. Really pretty puppy. He's got a really nice little head on him. Yes, you're a handsome boy. Then after that, we had our Brown Collar Boy. And Brown Collar Boy is the smallest puppy in the litter. Not small in terms of personality, though. And we'll just gently take him off of the milk bar there. There we go. Now here's a really good example of how you can tell that even though this puppy looks very much like a phantom, he is not, because you can see that very clearly defined black line down his back. He is a sable. But if you look right now, you would swear that's a phantom. Tan points on the legs, tan points on the chest, tan points on the face, tan points on the vent. But no, he is a sable. All of those markings are going to clear out and disappear as time goes on. his color is going to change quite a lot, and he's going to end up looking very similar to his mama GiGi. This little tiger was born at 6:41 a.m. So he was the break, or the pause as we call it in the litter. Very often you'll have a few puppies born and then you'll have a pause. And sometimes that pause can last up to 15 hours. As long as your girl is not having contractions and isn't in distress, if you're a breeder, you don't need to be too terribly worried. If your girl is contracting and no puppy is arriving, that's the time you immediately are going to the vet, because that means somebody's stuck or there's some other problem. But sometimes girls in the middle they'll just go, oh, time for a snooze. Sometimes they'll even eat and drink. They'll go out, go to the bathroom, come in, have a sleep. You wonder, what's going on? And then poof, they start having the rest of them. Some people believe that's because we're switching horns. Maybe sometimes it's just because the puppies aren't far enough down in the birth canal. When you have a bigger litter especially, the last few puppies are way high up in the uterine horn, quite high up in the body, and it takes a while to travel down the system there. So sometimes you get a pause that's quite long and you have a real break. Oftentimes when we're waiting for the puppies to be born and there's a break like that, we fall asleep. And then other times the pause is quite quick, like this one was, where it was really only about a half an hour. So Mr. Rekka, our brown collar boy rather, he was born at 6:41 a.m. and 184 grams. So he's the only puppy who came in under 200 grams. But he has a nice round full tummy. So he's definitely not having any problems from having been the smallest one to start with. And then our last puppy is our pink collar. Now, pink collar is not pink because he's a she, sadly, but I had 6 collars picked out before this litter was being born, and I had my pink and my red all picked out because my plan was we were going to have 2 girls and we were going to have 3 boys. Apparently nobody knew about my plan. So little Mr. Pink Collar Boy, he is going to be very modern and not worry that he doesn't have a traditional male color on and instead has a traditional female color. Again, you can see on this boy, very evident that he has that sable line down his back. So again, although he's presenting exactly identically to his brother, Mr. Brown Collar, he will not be a phantom. This is what Papa looks like. And so it's very easy when you're a breeder and you haven't had very many sables to think, oh, wow, Dad's a phantom. I knew I could get phantoms because, as I said, she carries phantom. So yay, I got 2 phantoms. And then you're very disappointed if that was what you were hoping for. Now, personally, pattern is to me just something that's interesting, not something that we breed specifically for. Although we always find it really interesting to tell you about all the different colors and the genetics and the patterns. I particularly find sable to be fascinating because it is one that can trick you. So Mr. Pink Collar Boy was born at 6:56 a.m. and he weighed 230 grams. So he came in with a bang, and that was the end of that, and we were all finished in just under 90 minutes. So it's great. We have the puppies in our bedroom, and then we move them here into the maternity ward. Now, I talked to you at the beginning of this video about probiotics for the puppies. I'm just going to leave Pink here on my lap because he's going to be the first one. We're going to do this in reverse order. This is what we give all the puppies for as a probiotic. It's called Benebac Plus, and it is a natural probiotic. It's full of all sorts of fermentation. It's very sort of similar to a yogurt or a kefir, and it just is given to them to help them with their systems. So of course, when babies are first born, they've just gone through quite a bit of stress, and they also haven't had time to develop their immune system completely. So by giving them a probiotic every day of their life, right from the get-go, we help to breed a beautiful, healthy gut. Now, we just give a very small amount. We just dab it right out on the finger here. It's a little bit more than I wanted. And then we just open the baby's mouth, and we just slip it right in and go, there you go. And it has a little bit of flavoring in it, a little bit of sugar so that they enjoy eating it. It's actually fructose, not white sugar or anything like that. And that helps keep their systems operating really well. It helps not have any puppy diarrhea, which is something that often can happen. And that way you ensure that your puppies continue to gain weight and maintain really nice, good gut health. So that's Pink all done. Now we're going to do Pink's brother Brown, because we're just going to do them all backwards here. And that way you get a bonus look at everyone. Now also, this serves as a really good bit of de-stressing for the puppies, or not de-stressing, early stress stimulation. Every day for about 10 seconds, we give them just a tiny little bit of an experience that's different or unusual. So that might be we put them on their backs. Oh, you can see his probiotic is more all over his lips than in his mouth. Here, lick it up. We put them on their back for a sec. There we go. And then we go, hey, it's all good. Make sure they know that that was not a negative experience. That way, they become more and more accustomed to doing things that are out of their daily routine and understanding that that's nothing bad, that nothing terrible happens, and it's all okay. And that helps them as adults become a little bit more inclined to adapt to new situations readily. There we go. Now for GiGi, and all of our mums, we give them a probiotic as well. The one we give them is slightly different. We actually give them two. One is the one that we recommend to all of our puppy families to carry on with, and that's an Only Naturals product called New Beginnings, and it's a fermented canine specific probiotic. It's a liquid, and you just pour it over their food. They don't need a whole lot, so it doesn't change the flavor of their food. So the mums still get that in their food every morning. And then on top of that, they also get another one that is called Propectolin, and we give them that for until they start weaning their dogs. I see GiGi's turned sideways here, and you can see here some of her different colors. This is almost like a lavender shade for a Labradoodle, parchment lavender. So it's really pretty. It's really neat because it's sable. You get all these different striations and hues in the coat. Just makes for a really interesting pattern to look at. Come here, Mr. Light Blue. I know you just found a spot again, and I'm taking you away again. And that in itself is something that is not bad to do once in a while with the puppies, is to get them to learn that they lose their spot, but then they get it right back again. So they're never too particularly stressed when mom gets up and decides she has to go out and go to the bathroom. There we go. So now everybody's had their Benna back. And after we film this video, I will go wash my hands and then go and do Ripple's puppies. It is really important when you have different litters that you don't go from litter to litter without doing a really thorough hands cleanse. We never wear our shoes in the area where the puppies are. We try to do everything we can to keep them safe and not innocently or inadvertently bring in something that could possibly give them some harm. Sometimes they still get things. We can't be perfect. There's things that come on our clothes that we're not even aware of, but we do everything we can to try and keep the little ones safe. So that's your puppies from the Dragonfly litter. If you are a lucky family and are on this reservation list, the first thing we're going to tell you to start doing now is to be sure and get a copy of Sophia Yin's book, Perfect Puppy in 7 Days, and start reading that. Great book. We'll be referring to it many times throughout the next 9 weeks that we have your puppies here with us. And there'll be many things in there that you'll be utilizing once your puppy comes home on October the 30th. So we hope you enjoyed the video. Be sure to subscribe to our channel, because that way you get a notification every time we post a new video. There'll be video litter updates for all of our litters, and in each one we try and tell you something a little different. So if you watch them all, you'll be really well educated and know pretty much more than what I do, which won't be too hard. So we hope you enjoyed it, and we hope you'll be back again next week with our week 1 litter update for the Dragonfly mini Labradoodle puppies from Isle Doodles. Thanks so much for watching.